Hey everyone, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. I hope you're having an awesome X day. I'm definitely having an awesome X day. And we got Dave in the house, and he's gonna tell us about how awesome X his day is today. How's it going, brother?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. We're going to be launching tomorrow. I'm feeling great, man. It's so much fun.
That's fantastic, man. I mean, for one thing, are you in the set right now, like in the movie set? Are you just
No,
taking
I'm
a
at,
break?
I'm at the Airbnb right now, where I stay, but we have our huge day today. We're supposed to have like 1,000 extras come today, for a big Battle of the Bands scene. So it's going to be massive. But yeah,
Fantastic,
I'm uh,
fantastic, man.
I'm working like 14-hour days, and you know what? I'm literally sleeping like 6 hours, maybe if I can get it, and then every other second I'm up. Like there's no TV. I'm doing streams, like I'm doing this stuff, but that's why I'm doing my other streams when I'm in the car driving a set because that's all the time I got. But this is important, so I'm sitting down for however long this takes, and then tomorrow we got a 5-hour launch stream too. Um, I'll probably be operating on that on like 2 hours of sleep, but whatever. This is really important.
That's fantastic. So you're gonna have a live stream before, like, while the launch is happening, or how's
Yes.
that?
Yes, we're gonna do 3 hours before we launch, and then 2 hours after we launch. So we're gonna stream through the launch, and I'm gonna live mint on camera or on the stream, and
Hmm.
we're gonna invite some people onto the stream, whoever wants to join, and kind of just. And I'm gonna talk about the new AwesomeX universe that is already. I can't even wait. I might even on this stream just share one little bit of alpha at the end, on something that's probably gonna be the first thing to launch on AwesomeX, and I think everybody's gonna be shocked. I was shocked when I heard he was gonna he was gonna do it on AwesomeX. And I'm like, sweet, let's do this. So I can't
All
wait
right.
to tell you guys about that too. But yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff happening. I think the cool thing about AwesomeX is that it will be a new input token because we
Mhm.
are all aware, keenly aware that the Titan X is about to get really scarce and really expensive. And um, I mean, there's really not a lot of liquid left, like overall, and there's not a lot of. I mean, mining will happen again. That's the thing about Titan X. Mining will happen again, but it will never happen again on the original scale. But now that there's a really good ratio week one on actually not just week one. I mean, it's still over a 2-to-1 ratio for the first 12 weeks of AwesomeX.
Mhm.
So it's 2.8 on the first week, and then it doesn't even dip below 2-to-1 until week 13, I believe. Um,
Gotcha.
so, anyways,
We're
stack.
gonna jump. We're gonna jump to that a little bit,
Okay,
but
cool.
yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna start sharing my screen, and then we can get this thing rolling. So, all right. So we have Dave in the house, and we're gonna talk about Awesome Mix today. And I have prepared all the social links for Awesome Mix. So you have here your X, your Telegram, and also the website. So, and I also have all the links in the description below. So if you want to have a look at that, that's where you're going to find all the links. So, I mean, as you guys know me, we're going to start off a little bit how, uh, yeah, probably you know this already. And by the way, if you want to, it's going to be launching tomorrow. And if you want to check out the upcoming projects on titanicSub.com. You can see AwesomeX is right at the top, and yeah, here you can see the countdown, which is essentially like tomorrow in around 24 hours. Well, 1 day and 56 minutes. AwesomeX is gonna launch, and yeah, from there on, we it's gonna be some fireworks, I believe. All right, so Dave, uh, I prepared here something a little bit, and the first thing we're gonna talk about is I want to hear Awesome Makes elevator pitch. That's the first thing I want to hear, and
All right.
then secondly, we're gonna talk a little bit about the Awesome X mechanics, and lastly, I thought this would be interesting as well because this is something new. We're gonna go probably a little bit about the idea about the Awesome X Launchpad.
Sweet. That sounds great.
All right, so I've collected some few things here from the white paper, but nevertheless, you fire away and give us the Awesome Mix elevator pitch.
All right. It's a perpetual compounding machine built on Dragon X using Titan X to mint, and with a 70% buy and burn, along with 12% because we are paired with Dragon X. So it's a 12% to go to the Dragon X vault, and there's another 3.5% direct Dragon X burn. So it takes 85.5% of the Titan X deposited off the market forever. And then yeah, we have a couple innovations which we are going to talk about with the Launchpad. I think the Launchpad adding an additional 3.5% to the 70% buy and burn would not have as much of an effect as utilizing that to build additional projects that are built on AwesomeX.
Well, that's fantastic. I think that's was a cool elevator pitch, and I think it makes sense. But now we're gonna go a little bit deeper into the AwesomeX mechanics, how it works, and things like that. So the second part is the AwesomeX mechanics. So firstly, what I want to focus on is when you as the user you deposit your Titanix in the AwesomeX smart contract, right? On the auction end, you're just gonna get your AwesomeX. Is
Well,
it?
it's not an auction. It's
Sorry, it's not an auction.
It's not an auction. The auctions mean that you might not get what you think you're
Okay,
going to
yeah.
get.
So at mint end.
It's a mint, exactly.
Sorry.
All good.
Yeah. Exactly. So you send in your Titanix, and then you get at auction end, mint end, sorry, and you're gonna get your AwesomeX. So probably before we just even get started, how it actually works with the minting ratio, let's start first of all how the Titanix, how that gets distributed, right?
Yep.
I'm just gonna start with the first one, which is the first 5 billion Titanix will go to the initial LP creation.
The first 50 billion.
Oh, the first 50 billion. Okay. You see, that's a mistake right there again. The first 50 billion Titanix goes to the initial LP. So probably just go through all of them here. And especially a few things I would like to hear more is regarding the treasury. What was the thought behind that? And why you chose to have that? And also, I mean, the Launchpad is something which we're going to talk a bit more later on. But for now, probably just go through the list here and explain your reasoning behind them.
Definitely. Yeah. So the initial LP, when it comes in, it's going to buy that, use that the 50 billion Titanix. It's going to buy Dragon X off the market, and then it's going to pair 50 billion AwesomeX tokens with it. That's going to be the initial lock LP. The Dragon X vault, the reason now we are pairing with that initial LP is a Dragon X LP. So the Dragon X vault part is because as we give funds to the vault, that is a perpetual cycle staking more, which is intended to inflate the whole Titanix ecosystem. I mean, it's really a really good design, and we're all seeing how it's working, and it's working. So we want to help fill up the vault, because by increasing Dragon X's payout, especially on 369, that's going to, in effect, the idea is that it would increase the value of AwesomeX as well, because we're paired to it. The additional 3.5% Dragon X burn is so we add additional buy pressure to Dragon X outside of the vault. The other cool thing about our buy and burn, our 70% buy and burn, is, and that's on the bottom there. I guess we could talk about that.
We're gonna talk to. We're gonna go through that one. I think just stick to those points here first, and I think it'll make more sense.
Got it. So we got the 3.5% direct Dragon X buy and burn, and then the 12% vault. Now there's 3% that goes to a treasury. Now there's two goals of this treasury. Actually, one of the main reasons I wanted to start a hyperdeflationary currency on Titan X is because I wanted to be able to give back to my fans that are watching my channel since January when I started the channel. I really wanted to be able to do some giveaways and some other things like that, and be able to offer people some value for watching and following along. So there's two goals of the treasury. The two goals of the treasury is that every decision made from the treasury must benefit the AwesomeX ecosystem and the crypto awesome community. So the treasury has two slightly different goals than the Launchpad. But I want to be able to benefit the people who are my fans and followers. And then I also want to be able to make sure that every decision made benefits the AwesomeX ecosystem. So it's a small amount, but it is something that I'm going to be very careful with. You guys can, whoever's tracking wallets, you guys can see it's like I'm not going to be hiding anything. But I do want to make sure that I have the ability to help my community out. And I mean, that's really, I wanted to do the, and so if we have questions about that, we could ask the questions. The Launchpad I really wanted to do because I actually had that 3.5% that I wanted to send to the marketing wallet when that was a discussion. And then, because I want to benefit the community with this is all for the community. It's for, I'm excited to do it, but I want to make sure that we're benefiting the community here. So I had that allocation in there when I was first designing the protocol to send to the marketing wallet. But then when you asked that question on the Blaze stream to Jake, and he basically said that's really not a good idea for a protocol to do that, and it was kind of almost a hard no, I had to recalibrate quickly. And I remember sending you a DM saying, I think I figured it out, something that Jake would actually approve of too, for this 3.5%. I didn't want to deallocate it. I wanted to use it for the community somehow. And that's when the Launchpad idea came into play, because I really thought about a Launchpad before launching this, but then that actually made it become a reality. It is a multi-sig Launchpad. In fact, everything, all of the main wallets are multi-sig. But the Launchpad is a multi-sig with 4 of us. And there's only a few requirements of the Launchpad. The Launchpad has 2 goals. They're slightly different than the Treasury. The Launchpad goals is it must benefit the TitanX ecosystem, and it must benefit the AwesomeX ecosystem. So those are the 2 goals of the Launchpad. They have to both be met in order for any projects to get funded through the Launchpad. Sorry, there's sun coming by somewhere. And then there's a few requirements for the Launchpad, and there's small requirements, but the requirements are
we can talk about the Launchpad a bit later, but I mean, yeah. So I mean, you can just skip that part because we want to go deeper on the later.
Okay, we'll go deeper a little bit in that. And then the last thing is the team. We have a really great team. They're a proven team. They launched it. They created Inferno. So we forked the Inferno's code, and then we changed parameters. We have the same developers as Inferno and the same code base. Our parameters changed because of the perpetual nature of AwesomeX versus the 8-week mint cycle for Inferno. So there was definitely some code changes, not any custom code changes, but parameter changes. And so then the 8% goes to the team.
Yeah, we have another question here. So Dave, how will you make the decision that are then paid for the treasury, DAO or something like that?
Yeah, we might be able to start a DAO for that. I don't see that being an issue. But right now it's me making those decisions. So just to be clear, it's me right now. But yeah, if we get a ton of people in the community and other people have some ideas, the treasury can be used for multiple things, like creating LPs with other BOT protocols. It can also be used for other. So the thing is, it's an unlimited kind of imagination thing. How are we going to benefit the ecosystem? And I don't really want to put restrictions on it right now. Also building a protocol that will specifically boost or not only one, maybe multiple protocols, not through the Launchpad, because these would be additional protocols that I would be building on top of AwesomeX that would benefit AwesomeX. So there's multiple things that the treasury can be used for, and I don't want to really put a limit on it right now, but I'm definitely open to a DAO vote, kind of like Helios does with the snapshot. Baby Dragon X does it too. Sometimes there's not really a lot of participation in the DAOs. So if people want it to be a DAO, like, I'm open to that. Let's talk about that, and just join the Telegram, guys, because I answer every single question in the Telegram. But as of right now, the treasury decisions are made by me, to be clear.
Okay. Yeah. I think something like a DAO, it's definitely advisable, because at the end of the day, then it's like people have to trust one person, and it's
That's a good
like,
point. That's a good point.
You know what I mean? Which is like, okay, you can run away with the funds, and there's no recourse whatsoever.
I got you. So, okay, let's just say right now, let's do a DAO, guys, for the treasury. And let's, I don't know how to set that up on Snapshot, but I'm sure Dude will help me. And then,
yeah, Dude, we can help you. I think that's something just, I think it's just advisable to have this kind of stuff, because minimize trust at all costs.
Good point. So I won't make any decisions out of the treasury unless we have a DAO vote for AwesomeX holders.
Yeah. I think it just makes sense. I mean, that would be something advisable.
And you know what? You guys are gonna
We have
like
some
some of
like
this stuff
treasury.
coming. I think you guys are gonna really like some of this stuff coming. It's like it's insane, really, what's happening. White papers are getting dumped into my brain from God or somebody. I don't even know. But it doesn't stop once we start building.
Well, fantastic. All right, so I think that's pretty much clear now. We have so 12% goes to Trading's Vault, which will be forever staked. The 3.5% goes like buys Dragonix and burn it straight away. So that's also great for Dragonix. 3% to the treasury, and
You go
this
ahead
is
and
what
put Treasury down now. You could put Treasury down because I just made that decision on stream with you guys.
okay.
I believe it's the right decision.
Yeah, I think it's just treasury. I mean, I'm gonna call it treasury DAO. Yeah, and then we have the AwesomeX Launchpad, which we're going to talk a bit more later on, and then 8% goes to the team. So now we're going to go, let's check out the 70%, which goes first to the buy Dragonix for buy and burn, because there's a little step in between.
Yes, that
Yeah,
little step is an important step, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. So initially, the Titanix will go to this buy Dragonix for the buy and burn, and as far as I understood, it's going to be slowly buying Dragonix, and it's going to be sending it to the AwesomeX buy and burn. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Like, is there an incentive fee for calling this buy and burn, or
Yes.
the buy Dragonix? Yeah.
Yes, there is, and it's small. That's one of the protections we did against the MEV bot that's different from we upgraded from Inferno is we have 192 intervals per day instead of only 48. So every 7.5 minutes it's called, which reduces the reward, which is, hopefully it pays for gas fees. If it doesn't pay for your gas fees, then wait for it to roll over once and then do it at that point. The reward will get a little bit bigger, but we needed to reduce that so the MEVs were non-profitable, and so it would not even be. And also we went V3, which is another protection for the MEV with the 1% V3. It's really literally a non-profitable situation. But the 192 intervals every 7.5 minutes are user called with a small reward.
Okay. So I mean, is there like a percentage on the incentive fee, or how is that calculated?
I'm gonna actually have to ask my devs on that.
No worries.
It's a
It's
small
all good.
reward. Yeah.
All right. So okay. So
I don't think you're gonna be
initially,
making much money on it.
no
Hopefully it
worries.
pays for your gas.
No worries. So yeah. So the Titanix 70% goes to this buy Dragonix for the buy and burn of AwesomeX, and then 100% of that bought Dragonix is sent to the buy and burn. Is that correct?
Yeah, over time. So it is
Oh yeah,
compounding.
sure.
Right.
Yeah. So over time, it will just be sending into the buy and burn
Every day. Different percentages every day. It's very similar mechanics to the Inferno buy and burn. That's one of the reasons I loved Inferno was the buy and burn had such interesting mechanics to me, and it worked. Like when you looked at the chart, like it was this most beautifully painted chart for the first 8 weeks, and then the last week after minting. I've never seen something that beautiful before on the weekly, but I think it was due partially to the buy and burn mechanics because it is slowly increasing up to mint day. And then after mint day, it goes down to almost a maintenance buy and burn. And then as it gets closer to mint day, it begins increasing again. And so it kind of has this psychological effect as well, because as it gets closer to mint day, it burns more. And hopefully that brings up, the intention would be that it would bring up the ROI right before mint.
Okay, but just another question: the buy Dragonix for the buy and burn, is that all set? Like you cannot change anything here as well, or how is that?
Yeah, once we launch it, everything's the only thing we have on admin control is slippage and value cap adjustment. Those are the only two things. We cannot touch the parameters once it's launched. Like the everything, we can't touch the funds, we can't touch the parameters. But if a MEV gets past the 192 intervals or gets past the V3 1%, which mostly, I think that will mostly never happen. But if that happens and it becomes profitable for an MEV to try to attack us, now we can turn down the value cap and the slippage to make it completely shut it down. We don't have to sandwich or do anything.
All right. Okay, that's fantastic. So regarding the okay, let's jump to the buy and burn here of the AwesomeX buy and burn. So it's gonna start filling up with the DragonX as soon as people start calling
It
it.
fills up with. I'm sorry. So it fills up with TitanX. We don't buy the DragonX until it burns. So the burn path will go through from TitanX to DragonX to burn, to AwesomeX to burn.
Yeah, but I mean, so probably like TitanX flows into this buy DragonX buy and burn. Like this is just for buying DragonX, and whenever that gets bought, it's sent to the AwesomeX buy and burn.
Yeah, right. But the storage of it is still TitanX. The buy and burn will be stored as TitanX, and then when it's called, it goes.
I think the point is that TitanX first goes to whatever, like this section here. It's stored here, and it gets bought. That TitanX is being used to buy and send it here.
Correct.
Am I misunderstanding something?
I think you're right. I think we might be saying the same thing. But yeah, we just store it in TitanX, and then whenever it gets burned, it goes through a DragonX path, which adds additional buy pressure to DragonX. So it goes from TitanX to DragonX to AwesomeX burned.
Okay, fair enough. I think I will. I mean, to just make it even more clear, I mean, okay, maybe I don't want to do this live on stream, but essentially, you're buying on the TitanX. I can probably just do this. Maybe not the best idea on the live stream, but this is TitanX DragonX Vault, and essentially you're buying and then you're sending that DragonX there.
Right. Yes, exactly.
That's to just make it even more clear what I was trying to do. So so this is probably even more clear now. Is if somebody clicks that buy DragonX, a percentage or like I think it's is it a per swap in the interval you can select how much TitanX gets used. Is that correct?
You can select it, but it is a percentage of. So there's 192 intervals that are divided by what the daily percentage is. So if the daily percentage is 3%, that's 3% of the buy and burn cut into 192 pieces that are called every 7.5 minutes.
Okay, I see. Okay. So yeah, so essentially, like whenever that gets triggered, some amount of TitanX gets used to send to the V3 liquidity pool, and that whatever that DragonX been bought is sent to the AwesomeX buy and burn.
Right, and on like Saturday and Sunday, it's 12% of the pool gets used each day. So that's like 12% divided by 192 versus 3% on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay. I think probably we can actually talk about that a little bit more on the buy and burn. But essentially, probably could you just go through the buy and burn, like how it works, because you're burning 100% of the AwesomeX which gets bought. Is that correct?
70%.
Okay, 70%.
70% buy and burn. So when the TitanX comes in, 70% gets allocated to the buy and burn, and then the other allocations go to the other places. So 12, 3.5.
Yeah, no. But what I'm asking is like that DragonX which is sitting on the buy and burn here.
Oh, well,
when you buy AwesomeX, right? How much of that, like 100% of that gets burned?
All of that gets burned. Yeah. Right, exactly. Yes.
That was more the question. Could you probably run through this process here so that people can understand? Because they are new people. I mean, the thing is, like, all the mechanics are very similar. So it's essentially, I'm just repeating a lot of these things every time because the buy and burn, like, it doesn't change from all the others. They're all the same, essentially. Definitely. But probably just for the people out there who are new and like maybe you can explain a little bit how the buy and burn works, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. So when the 70% comes into the buy and burn, there's a different percentage daily. It's an escalating percentage that goes up to the next mint cycle. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is 3%. And I should actually get my white paper up because I want to make sure I'm clear on these percentages.
So we can say Monday.
So yeah, so Monday, so Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 3% every day. 3% of the pool is burnt in 192 intervals. Does that make sense?
Okay, so Sunday, Monday, and
Tuesday and Wednesday. So 4 days in a row. It's 3%, 3%, 3%, 3%, which is a total of 12% for those 4 days.
Okay, so it's a 3% for. Okay, so 3%, 3%, 3%, 3%.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, exactly.
So that's whatever is in the buy and burn, 3%, whatever's
in the buy and burn, 3% of that is allocated that day, and that 3% is split into 192 intervals every 7.5 minutes. User called.
Okay, so it's 7.5 minutes interval.
And the interval never changes. So the interval is always 7.5 minutes, even on every day.
Okay. All right. That never changes. Yeah.
That never changes.
Okay. Maybe we'll make a nice color like this. 7.5 interval. So we're doing it all live, guys. All right. And then there is the rest of the day. When is that? So now it's.
Now we're go to Thursday. So Thursday is leading up to the Friday mint. So on Thursday, 7% of the pool is burnt in 100.
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Saturday. Yeah. I mean, I'm doing this so that people can actually understand everything.
Yeah, because there's mechanics behind this buy and burn. It's not just simply like put it in the buy and burn it. Like these mechanics are actually really important for the protocol. So thank you.
How much is that now?
7% on Thursday.
7%. Okay, so 7%. And then it's also 7% as well.
No,
and
it's 12% on both Friday and Saturday.
Okay, 12%. And then 12%.
Yep.
Alrighty.
And with this visual, you can see, maybe you can see why we're doing this, the escalating burns per day. Should I explain that?
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead. I explain that. I think it's important for people to understand.
Yeah. So when we lead up into because AwesomeX is very simple. We mint on Friday and claim on Saturday. No penalties for late claims. It's just a simple mint and no deferred inflation. There's no mining or staking or anything. So weekly, this is a weekly mint with a price floor increase, and we'll talk about that. But every week, we would like the chart to look great. We want the inflation to be built into the chart every single week. It will not have deferred inflation. So the idea behind this buy and burn is that leading up to the mint, it burns more tokens. So we have a heavier burn on the mint day and the claim day. Because the 24 hours of mint, it's that ratio doesn't change. This isn't an auction. So you don't have to get in minute 1 or minute, or 20 or like 23 third hour of that day. It's all the same. So you don't have to FOMO into this. You could just kind of play it however you want to play it. But the idea is that the more we burn getting closer to mint, the more effect it has on the price action. And so then after the mint is done and people claim their tokens on Saturday, that's when the inflation hits the chart for that day. But then if people fade their bags, the buy and burn comes and eats it up. And then the buy and burn slows down just a little bit. And it slows down for 4 days. But then as we come next to the next mint, it ramps back up. So I think this mechanic had a massive impact on the weekly chart of Inferno. Because of the escalating percentages leading up to the mint. And if you notice too, this does not equal 70%. The 7 plus 12 plus 12 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, that's 43%, I believe. Yeah, that's 43%. So there is a 70% buy and burn. So where does the rest of that go? Well, the rest of that stays in the buy and burn. This is a perpetual protocol. This is a long-term protocol. It compounds in the buy and burn every week. Now, one of the main reasons we did that mainly is because if there are weeks, like week 120, week 82, something like that, where there's less participation, the buy and burn is not going to stop. The buy and burn is going to continue to buy and burn, and it will continue to build value for the ecosystem by compounding. And also remember, it's completely locked. There's no way we can touch it. It's there just to do its job, and that is to buy and burn at these ratios. We can never even change these ratios once it's launched. Once it's launched, this stuff is immutable.
Okay. So essentially, 43% is whatever is in the pool, 43% gets used in the week.
Every week.
Yeah. So 40. Oh, okay. Yeah, we might as well just do it live because then, I mean, the whole reason why I'm doing these videos is like also to understand from the creator himself. And that's why I think this is great. So 43% of buy and
which is crazy. 43% is burned every single week. Like, I mean, really, that's kind of mind blowing when I really think about that. Like, Inferno has I think about 43 or maybe 47% of the entire supply burnt. Well, because that's what this mechanic did to it. This mechanic did that. And that's why Inferno has that much burnt already. But see, Inferno had a 90% buy and burn. So why isn't there 90% burnt of Inferno tokens? It's because it was a compounding system, just like this. It stays compounding in the Inferno buy and burn.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean the 43%. So in essence, what you're saying is in week 90, when there's very little participation, there's still going to be something left in the buy and burn because only 43%, whatever is in there, gets used every week.
Correct. The intention is that the buy and burn will never go dry. So we will always have good hope. I mean, the design behind it is that hopefully we will always have good price action. But, you know, it is an experiment, guys. I mean, all this is an experiment, but the experiments are working. So I'm super excited about them.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think this makes sense. So I think the buy and burn, it seems to be somewhat clear for everybody. I think even for me now, understanding it better. And anybody who's gonna be forking Inferno, then at least I have well prepared, because the only thing, the interval can change and the parts, I guess, right?
The parameters of the buy and burn can change. But I chose not to do much custom stuff. I had rewards and stuff built into the system on the first white paper, but I pulled that because it's like there's such a beautiful simplicity to what Inferno was. That's why it's meme fi, because it's not just meme. The fi tells you there's something under the hood here, and what's under the hood is a deflationary mechanic that is not only deflationary but also just really cool buy and burn mechanic. When I first interviewed the team for Inferno on Crypto Awesome channel, I was blown away by the mechanics and the buy and burn. I'm like, man, like you guys really thought this through. And then the chart got painted so beautifully. I was like, I'd never seen a weekly chart like that. It was crazy.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. So yeah, this is awesome. So probably here regarding one thing to mention as well is that AwesomeX is going to be tied to DragonX. So the LP will be in DragonX. So it's a leverage play on DragonX essentially. And so how does this liquidity pool get created? I think I read in the white paper that the first 50 million Titanix will buy DragonX and start the initial liquidity pool. And it's going to be paired with 50 billion AwesomeX minted.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. That's fantastic. So whatever you're going to get on DragonX on that day, that's what the pairing is going to be.
Right. So it's like at some point, I don't want to really ever wish something to drop, but in one sense, it's like, you know, if DragonX drops on that day, then we can buy a little bit more and pair it with that. But it doesn't really, you know, whatever the ratio is, that's what it's going to be. And then 50 billion AwesomeX can get paired with that, lock forever. Nobody could ever touch that amount.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, one of the things is let me just a quick go to titanxsub.com here to see the current ratio of Dragonix, which is 10.23. So it definitely dropped.
Ooh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
I never wish things to go down, but in this case, it's like it's good to have a lower ratio.
Yeah, so it's definitely you have quite good ratio perhaps for tomorrow, and maybe there's gonna be a whale out there who's gonna drop it even further. So
Maybe. But
yeah,
essentially, Jake was even mentioning that essentially by participating in protocols that are paired with Dragon X, essentially you're building your Dragon X bags. So if you felt like you missed out on Dragon X, which I don't think you have yet, but if you felt like that, you're participating in AwesomeX is participating in Dragon X essentially because we are locked paired with them.
absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, this is just something important. And by the way, we got AwesomeX launch here, 70% buy and burn. You got a countdown as well here on titanxsub.com. So shout out to Dave. Something magical will happen tomorrow. We'll have to find out. So yeah, so this is just important here. We had the liquidity pool created, and we talked about the buy and burn and the interval. And I think the other thing is the parts, right? You said how many parts are there for that?
When you say parts, what do you mean?
You say it's like the 192 parts. Is that correct?
192 intervals per day, exactly. Which is why that creates the 7.5 minutes. It's basically 24 hours divided into 194 parts intervals.
Yeah.
Is 7.5 minutes.
Okay. So 192 parts in 24 hours.
I mean, yeah, parts, intervals, however you want to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because it's 7.5 minutes interval.
Intervals,
So
which 192 parts creates the 7.5 minutes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you divide the 24 hours to 192, then you get the 7.5 minutes, I think.
Right. Correct.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So I think this is just important for for the people to understand how the buy and burn works. And we got a question here, and the question is 43% gets used every week. Is the rest of the 57% of the BB carried over week to week like Inferno? That is correct, I think, right, Dave?
Well, 43%. Oh yeah, yes, that is correct actually.
Yeah. So it just get rolled over to next week.
Exactly. Continues to get rolled over. But
Yeah.
it's exactly. I think you're right the way you worded that. I look at semantics and sometimes I need to be sure before I answer a question that it was worded properly. But yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, because it's like imagine you have 100 tokens and then you just say, you know what, 43% is going to be used this week, so the rest will be for next week. And next week, whatever is left, 43% of that again.
Yeah, and if there's ever any week with low or no participation in the future, that number will still burn that amount.
Yeah,
it won't be dry.
So whatever amount which is left for the week rolled over, and 43% of that gets used.
Correct. Yes, correct. Right.
Yeah, and as long as there's like people participating in the whole ecosystem, that number will be growing anyway because like as long as Titan X is flowing here, it's gonna be buying up Dragon X all the time, every week.
And we saw that with Inferno, man. I mean, Inferno's buy and burn was like blasted off, like week 6 and 7. It hit that $1 million. That it hit I think it even hit like 2 million that like on week 7. But then it kept burning, so it did kind of decrease that. But man, I mean, that was such an exciting journey to mint Inferno every week, and that's what I really like. We're gonna make Fridays great again, guys, because I was looking forward to my Fridays every week, and then my Saturdays were great because I was claiming. So that's really what I loved Inferno. In fact, that was like my favorite protocol up to that point, and so I wanted to put Inferno on Dragon X. I mean, it's like, well, that was kind of a nice mashup, the two powerhouses in the ecosystem, and see what happens.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, I mean, all in all, I think Eric is going to be very, very happy about this because this buy Dragon X here is going to be every week. There's going to be a buy pressure on Dragon X.
it's going to be additional buy pressure from the 3.5%. The 3.5% is just a little extra taste, and the 12% to the vault. But yeah, the buy and burn is actually going to be adding a lot of buy pressure through Dragon X. So it's like, boom, we got to buy Dragon X, and then it's going to all get burnt. Like, I mean, it's very cool, like the way this is set up. It's so simple too, though. It's like a simple, when you really look at it from the outside, it's just use Titan X to mint AwesomeX, but it goes through Dragon X. Like, it's very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is, I mean, the whole concept here is, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like that Dragon X which you buy is going to end up in a liquidity pool, but still it is a delayed buy pressure essentially, right? It gets bought now, and it's stored in the smart contract and it releases later.
Daily buy pressure though, which is nice. And programmed daily buy pressure. Like, it always buys, never sells.
Yes. It's like, it's like a whale, a drunken whale.
Buys and never sells, exactly.
Just keeps on buying and forgets to sell.
A really smart drunken whale.
Yeah, he's like, it's forever buying the top.
Yeah, right. Forever buying the top. Exactly, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's what Michael Saylor says. You know, he's like, he'll be buying the tops forever, and it's like, hey, man. Shout out to Michael Saylor, man. He's buying Bitcoin like there's no tomorrow, man.
Well, we need to get him into Titan X, but he's a pretty big Bitcoin maxi. He's probably as much of a Bitcoin maxi as I am a Titan X maxi now. So,
well, that's cool, and you need all of those people, man. We need all of them. We need all of them. Yeah. I learned very much from Michael Saylor, man. It's like tremendous. Like, he knows his stuff for sure. So shout out to Michael Saylor, man. Less eyes. That's the way. All right. I think this is pretty much clear, Dave, from what we went through, everything. I think like it's quite like straightforward. Understanding the buy and burn has a bit of like, it's like, if you understood the Inferno one, I think now you understand this one as well, and potentially now even more clear how this works, essentially.
Yeah, the meme fi just shows you there's something under the hood. We're not just billionaire bodybuilding dragons as our meme. We got the fi attached, and that fi means you don't even really need to know. I do think you should always read a white paper before you participate in a project, but always watch the Mike Dean whiteboard interviews too, because you really make sure that everybody is asking the questions that they need to ask, even if they don't realize they need to ask the questions. That's what I love about your streams. But I watch every one of your videos before I participate in a project, if they're out.
Yeah, I'm trying my best to keep up. Essentially, do this interview.
Dude, you are a powerhouse, dude. Like, I literally, you put so much time in. I know how hard it is to stream. You put so much time and effort into doing these whiteboards, and you have to pre-prep them. You can't just like wake up and pop on a stream. Like guys, you got to give a shout out. Go to the Titan X Hub and sign up for the elite, because you're going to get to learn about LPs. Even just the free stuff though is great, because you got the portfolio up there. I use that portfolio every single day. It's so addicting to look at. And then you got the charts built right in. The upcoming projects. I mean, I remember when it was a Google Sheets.
Yes.
It was awesome.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very important. So, I mean, probably just lastly here, one thing which I just want to add as well, which is like the only settings which can be set by admin is you said the slippage
and value cap adjustment.
What is it? The value.
The
swap.
Yeah.
Right.
So if for some reason say the buy and burn built to like $10 million, and then like 192 intervals every 7.5 minutes was still really expensive. Like, say it was trying to burn like $5,000 every 7.5 minutes, and the MEVs were like, ooh, now we can kind of make a little bit of profit by coming in. Well, once we recognize that, all we do is turn down the volume, and they can't be profitable anymore, so they move on.
Okay. Yeah, that's I think that's definitely important. I mean, we saw the attack happening, and I think you guys learned from that, or like essentially.
Yeah, the hard thing is they wanted to go completely decentralized, and that's beautiful. That's a beautiful concept. It's just with something like this, you need one additional layer of protection just in case. so we don't have to try to figure out all these workarounds and stuff, if it happens. And we had Jake's brain on this. This is one of the reasons that we did it this way, because it's more like the Titan X buy and burn setup, to where it's impenetrable. I mean, we are bulletproof against MEVs.
Okay. Yeah, and that's definitely very, very important, because the MEV, although they are definitely some useful parts for them as well, but I mean, they also just will use anything and everything to extract any value they can find.
Right. And exactly, they're useful in some cases for some things, but for our ecosystem, with the way we're setting things up, with all of the ethos that we have to protect ourselves against that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, it's like they're essential in some ways, but and unfortunately, there's always two sides of things, right? Which is, yes, you can use them for good things, but like everything else, they can be used for other, like, not so positive things, right? It's so those are the things at times, but nevertheless, I think these admin settings for slippage and cap swap, I think it's just important to have. Essentially, it's very important, actually. Yeah. All right. So, I mean, I have 2 points here, and that's the last point for today, which is going to be the AwesomeX Launchpad, right? So, probably you're going to start off with the goal of the Launchpad, and then maybe want to hear a little bit about the initial requirements for the Launchpad, because I believe there are some people out there who perhaps have great ideas, but maybe they don't have the necessary funds to actually just get this whole thing rolling. And perhaps you can talk about first of the goal, and then see if for that somebody who's listening out there, perhaps this is something for them.
Definitely. Yeah. In fact, I've already had a few people reach out to me. So I don't get too worried about that. Like creating a white paper is not maybe as hard as you might think, guys. I mean, you have a white paper is you dumping your brain, like saying, hey, what do I want to do? What protocol would I want to participate in? And then dumping your brain out. Just open a Git book. It's free. It can organize your brain. Before you do the Git book, you could just do a notepad or a Word doc or a Pages doc, whatever you want. Just dump your brain out. Hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking. What if we did this meets this? Or what if we did whatever? Dump your brain out, write some mechanics down, get a Git book, and then organize it into the tabs. It's free. It's simple to use. That's what I did. And that's how I got my team. When I pitched this to Ali and Josh, the Inferno team, they were able to look at something on paper. So, okay, so let's get to the requirement. First off, let's talk about the goals of the Launchpad. The two goals of the Launchpad is that every protocol that gets funded by the Launchpad must support the overall Titan X ecosystem and must support the AwesomeX ecosystem. And when I say AwesomeX ecosystem, you guys got to watch the launch stream tomorrow, because it's the AwesomeX universe. I mean, we already have a whole bunch of protocols that we have a hybrid NFT launching. We got a whole bunch of other stuff. So, but then the Launchpad is going to make that universe even greater. And so, those are the two goals. I must support Titan X and must support AwesomeX. So there's a few requirements. One thing that is not necessarily a requirement, but it will be heavily weighted, is using AwesomeX as the input token for the protocol that gets funded. That is not necessarily a requirement, although it will be heavily weighted. So the requirements are: you have to submit a white paper that thoroughly describes your project, and you have to be open to that adjusting as we talk to the team. So it's like, don't be so set on your idea that like you can't have it be adjusted, because the people on the team are geniuses. I mean, they've launched like Blaze, Inferno. Like we have people on the team that literally have proven themselves with their protocols and with their actions. So I was open when I got them on my team. I was open to them giving me suggestions to making this what it is today. So just, be willing to be a little loose in the beginning to find the right idea. Anyways, and your first idea, I actually came up with three white papers before I even had the AwesomeX, I had AwesomeX.win before I had the Inferno built on Dragon X. So if you have your marketing side and your name, maybe you could swap in a couple different protocols and to find the one that's going to be the right one to launch. Like I said, I went through 3 white papers before I found the right idea. But anyways, so first thing is you got to have a white paper with your idea and you got to submit it to the team and we got to look at it and it has to do a few things. So the mechanics of your project have to pair with AwesomeX, number 1. It has to be locked forever. It has to be, the LP has to be locked forever, not 88 years, not 8 years. It has to be forever locked. The protocol must either burn, lock, or stake, or otherwise take AwesomeX off the market forever. And 3% of the protocol must be sent to the AwesomeX treasury as an allocation to further perpetuate and benefit the ecosystem. So those are the main requirements to get funded by the AwesomeX treasury. The AwesomeX Launchpad.
Fantastic. I think I just wrote like some few points here, but I think it's clear how you worded it. So I mean, the goal for the Launchpad seems to me rather that it's like you want to support Titan X, obviously, because that's what you're building upon, and you must the project must also support AwesomeX. So the question is, AwesomeX as an input token. So why is that like only probably a loose requirement and not a hard requirement?
Because I think I kind of wanted to make it a hard requirement, but my team did not agree with me. And I'm not the only guy on the team. So the reason I like it as a heavily weighted thing is because I do want AwesomeX to be the new input token, a new input token. And that's why the huge ratio is happening early on. That's why it's beneficial for people to hodl AwesomeX. I mean, or provide liquidity while you're holding it. But if you use it as a compounding game, cool. Do you. And maybe, that's a good strategy. But also when you do that, it's because you may not want to be holding it for future protocols. You may not know what you can use it for in the future. And maybe some protocols, you really can't use their tokens as input tokens. But for AwesomeX, we are building on top of it. And most of the stuff we're building you're going to be able to use AwesomeX as the input. So now if you stack AwesomeX, you're not only building your Dragon X bags, but you're also building a new input token that will be able to be used not only through all the stuff that we are building on top of it, but also potentially the Launchpad projects. So it's not an actual requirement because there might be some people that have creative ways to use other tokens as input tokens. And we want to be able to we want to be able to like look at those white papers and determine, is this actually beneficial for AwesomeX using a different input token? But ultimately, we're going to need something else because Titan X is about to get really scarce and really expensive. So I need another input token because I want to participate in protocols. And now also, just like Titan X, day one, you could mine 8 million Titan X a day on a max miner. I mean, it's less than probably like 3 million right now. I don't actually know the numbers, but like it heavily weighted early adopters. And so when you can really just understand this up front, you can start stacking your bags. But also, you don't have to wait for a miner. Like it's literally claim the next day. So I know people do get froggy a little bit with the funds. They want to redeploy and compound and stuff. I mean, I do too. But if you know what's coming, you might be able to prepare a little better. And there's ways now to make to make fees while you're holding. If you sign up for the elite and you guys don't know about elite Titan Hub, if you don't know about LPs, Mike, you're going to be sharing, you're going to be teaching people how to do it, how to do LPs and do it properly. So LPs are it's the game underneath the game, the LPs. And when you can start understanding the game under the game, now you can actually get residual income from holding your tokens. And so there's ways to hold without feeling like you're just sitting there doing nothing with your tokens.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, that's definitely very important. So, just before we cut it off here, Dave, I mean, for all the viewers out there, please check out AwesomeX. I mean, we had Dave in the house. It is in the upcoming projects on titanxhub.com. You have the links here as well, and I'm just seeing it as right now. I need to add the link to the website. It is grayed out, so that's something I'm going to do directly after this stream. But nevertheless, you have the countdown here, and once you visit the website as well, you're going to have the countdown there. And if you have any questions or anything, Dave is definitely in the Telegram, so shoot the message there, and I think all the questions will be answered. We have around 24 hours, which the launch is going to happen. So feel free to join Dave there, and as well here on Titan Hub, we have here the timer. And nevertheless, there is also the premium version here. This is now with there is a discount code here.
Oh, you got a discount.
Yeah, there's a discount code currently. So right now, I mean, you can use discount code from, I think I have some few streamers out there. So normally it's like 250 a year for the pro. But if you want to go elite, which comes with the liquidity providing workshop, which happens around once a month, then you can use that as well. But essentially now there is a code which is applied here, but normally it's just 250 or 500 a year.
Right, 500.
Yeah.
Can we have an awesome code for people if they want to type
I will create an AwesomeX code as well, and I will send it to you as well. I'll probably, like, on the upcoming days I can get
no worries. You have so much going on, dude. Thank you for doing everything you do. I mean, I don't know how you do it, but you do a lot. So thank you.
No worries, man. So thank you for being here, Dave. And probably lastly here, I have these QR codes here directly. So if you're watching right now, take out your phone and visit the Telegram, the X, just follow them all. And that was it, guys. We got Dave in the house. So I think I'm just going through now. I think there's no other questions. So Dave, thank you for being here, man. I appreciate you, and good luck tomorrow. And perhaps I might join the stream tomorrow if
Cool.
if I have time.
You're welcome if you can.
Fantastic, Dave. You have a great day, man. You look very jacked there, man, in the background. I'm telling you that. All right, man. Thank you for watching. And on your way out, please spank that like button and subscribe. Have a good one.
Peace.